Great evening, everyone. And this is yours truly, Jasmine D. Millhouse. And I want to welcome you back to the Fly Show, where the Fly stands for First Love You. And I thank each and every one of you all that is tuning in with us here on tonight. I am so super excited about the interview that I'm going to be doing on tonight. I am digging deep into the educational field with some dynamic leaders in our school system. I am so excited about this interview and the information that we're going to be receiving on tonight. So I hope you come to receive some information. If you have questions, put them in the chat because I will be looking at some questions, but I know that they're going to be giving some great answers that you may not even have any, but just come prepared to take some copious notes and to get a little extra wisdom in the educational field. So let me give you a little bit of information about who I am interviewing on this evening. But before I do, make sure you tag, share, and comment on this video. Get someone on here and make sure you share it, okay? Let us know where you're watching from. Say hello, comment, don't be afraid to speak. We will respond, okay? So I am going to be interviewing Dr. Brandon and Dr. Shanekia Williams. Now, let me give you this first bio. A native of DeSoto, Georgia, Dr. Shanekia Williams is a 2004 graduate of Sumter County Comprehensive High School in the great city of Americus, Georgia. She is an alumna of Albany State University, where she obtained a Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood Education in 2009 and also a Master of Science in Early Childhood Education in 2011. In 2012, she earned an educational specialist degree in mathematics in secondary education from Nova Southeastern University. And in 2019, she completed her PhD in leadership in educational administration at Capella University. She also holds endorsements for reading and gifted education. Dr. Williams is currently the principal at Live Oak Elementary School and has served in this role since 2018. During her tenure at Live Oak, the school has become one of the largest elementary schools in Dory County and is continuing to soar each year under her innovative, forward thinking leadership. In addition to serving as principal, she has devoted her time and fulfilled her passion as a part time instructor at the unsinkable Albany State University since 2017 in the areas of childhood education, educational leadership, and mathematics. And Dr. Brandon Williams he was born and raised in Lee and Sumter counties, and it was born on June 23rd, 1982, to Lawrence and Gwendolyn Williams. He is the youngest of five, and he has learned a lot from his older siblings and his parents. He received an outstanding public education from Lee and Sumter counties, graduating from the finest high school, Sumter County Comprehensive High in Americus, Georgia, in May 2000 as his class president. After his graduation, he enrolled in Albany State University and completed his freshman year before transferring to Georgia Southwestern, where he received a BS in education and an MS in behavior disorders and educational leadership. He continued his educational pursuits at Georgia College and State University, where my daughter is currently enrolled right now, in educational leadership. He once again set another goal and continued his educational pursuits with Nova Southeastern University. He completed the doctoral program in December 2016, earning his educational degree in educational leadership. In 2019, he accepted the position of assistant superintendent for Crisp County School System, where he continues to serve. They are married, and together they share the life of two sons, Braylon and Bryce. Brandon and his family currently resides in Lee County, and they attend the Antioch Baptist Church in Lee County as well. It is my honor, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. and Mrs. I think I'm saying this right. I don't know if the doctor come first or the Mr. and Mrs. come first, but introducing to you Mr. and Mrs. Brandon and Shanekia Williams. Good evening, you all.
Hello there.
How are you all doing?
All is well.
Good. So, first, before we get into this interview on tonight, I have to say thank you for even taking the time out of your evening to sit down with me and go through a list of questions and just give your expertise and your knowledge in your field. Can you hear me good? Is it clear?
Yes, we can hear
Uh,
you.
All right, that's what I need to make sure. So, the questions that I'm going to be asking you tonight is going to be for both, and if you choose to, have the answer together, that's fine, or have the same answer, just piggyback off of each other, however you would like to do it. But my first question is going to be for you all. I'm going to dig a little bit into your journey first before we get into the importance of education and the direction that is going and the innovative turns that you're taking to the educational field. How do you define who Brandon and Shanekia is?
Go.
First of all, Jazz, you have to be direct with Mr. Dr. Williams. Otherwise, he will sit here and allow me to answer everything. So you're going to have to be direct with him so that he can answer questions.
I
But
got
I will get this one started. I would define Brandon and Shanekia together as a power couple. I would definitely say that we are a power couple for many. But as far as who I am, because that's what the question originally was, how do I define myself?
Mhm.
I would say that I am disciplined. And a disciplined person is someone that is focused. A lot of people can get that confused with being stubborn because you have to have things your way, per se, when you're disciplined. But it's not just about having it my way, it's about having it the right way and planning ahead and making sure that through whatever the journey is I have to take, I stay grounded in that journey, which is why I think I have gotten to where I am at such a young age. And remaining humble throughout that process, and then helping somebody else along the way. We don't go through things for ourselves. We go through things to be a witness to somebody else. And so I would say, if I had to just name one word to say who I am, I would say disciplined.
Good
Dr.
job
Williams?
answering that question.
Thank you.
It's just she said that perfectly. I would just add the one word for me would be focused. Um, and we had to do an activity not long ago with work, and that was my word. So I would just, um, I guess, just try to focus on that. One word is it's a small word, but it is so powerful. Um, Not only in reaching your own personal goals, your work goals, but also to help um, others to get where they're trying to go. So that's it for me. Focus.
You can
And
say about us.
would you say that that has always been your words for yourselves, disciplined and focused?
Um, since we've been together, yeah, that's been it. We have tried to remain humble throughout our journey together, which it's been a long time now.
It's been a very long time.
Um, so yeah, humbleness and we try to keep the faith. Our parents and family, we were brought up in that way, and so we try to make sure that we keep that at the forefront because we know that that's what's going to carry us forward. Um,
Mhm.
and so yeah, that's yeah.
And what would you say happened along your journey from childhood to middle school, high school that clicked for you that you wanted to enter into education? Brent, I'll start with Brandon.
There you go, Jazz. You got
Look, I catch on
Well,
quick.
you did an easy one. This is an easy one to go through. And it's funny that you started with middle school because that's actually I think where it probably began. And I think Shanekia and I had the same middle school principal.
We did.
Um, But Miss Carolyn Hamilton
Mm-hmm.
was a big inspiration. My mom, she worked in the school pretty much my whole lifetime going to school. So school was, I mean, that's what I knew. Um, from sitting there mornings early before school time till after school. But the big inspiration there that led me to education, I would have to attribute that to my middle school principal, which was Miss. She was currently Miss Hamilton, Carolyn Hamilton. I used to, pick her out about her office, um, and I see myself doing that now with stacks in the office. I don't know if she still does that today or not in her office, but I would tease her about that, cleaning up the office and stacks. But I now realize, the importance of those stacks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I knew it then. I tried to defer from education when I first started college. I went in business, and
Wow.
I thought, well, I'm going to get me an office, up on a high floor somewhere and make big money. That was my goal then, but it didn't quite work that way. So, but I am passionate about what I do, and I am glad that my soulmate is in the same area, so we can talk a lot of the same language.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Shanekia?
I would say that honestly, you couldn't have paid me $1 million to make me believe I was going to become an educator. In middle school or high school, I did not want to become an educator. I
Yeah.
wanted to be a lawyer. I was fierce. I had an attitude. I thought
Yeah.
that's what it took. To be a lawyer, you got to be fierce. You got to go in there with this straight face, and you got to make people believe what it is that you're talking about. And so I just knew in my heart I wanted to be a lawyer.
Mm.
I'm not really knowing the details of the English courses you had to take whenever you want to be a lawyer. Well, math is my background, not
Right.
English. And so when I met my husband, it was actually my senior year in high school. He would tell me all the time, "You're going to be a teacher. You're going to be a teacher." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to be a teacher." And my best friend at the time in high school, Alicia and Keisha, they would tell me, "You're going to be a teacher." I didn't want to be a teacher. I used to get upset with them for telling me I was going to be a teacher. And lo and behold, after that first semester at Savannah State, in the area of law, with all of those English courses and papers and books that I felt I had to write, I was like, no, this is not for me. I am not going to succeed in this area. And so my husband actually convinced me, okay, why don't you just give it a try until you figure out what it is that you want to do in life? Just try early childhood. And that's what I did. He was actually in the room with me, with my counselor at Savannah State, when we changed my major to early childhood. And that was back in late 2004. And here I am in 2022, and you just couldn't have paid me $1 million to make me believe I would be this far in education. And it truly is a passion of mine. Otherwise, I think I could have, gone left by now to another field. I still think I'm going to eventually practice law. I hope
Okay.
it's not lost. As one of my friends, I can argue now. But well, don't see, you make me hit you on the camera. Don't ask him.
Yeah.
Don't be hitting him on the
I can
shoulder.
argue my point and defend something, but I do
Right.
think that education is definitely my passion. And like Brendan said, without me even knowing, those women, those African American women were so pivotal in my life growing up, like Miss Hamilton and
Mm-hmm.
Tawana Bettis and Rosemary Jones and Dr. Roberts and Victoria Harris. It's so many to name. I don't want to start name dropping because all of those women had an impact on me becoming a successful educator.
How has it been for you all not allowing fear to cloud your judgment on your education, in education, with making decisions, in the school systems, in the classrooms, with personnel? Because sometimes you can, grow a bond and build a relationship, and sometimes the fear of how they may react to, things that you're saying or direction that you're giving, how is it, important how important it is for you to remove that fear when it comes to that?
That is that's very important. Um, and you're right when you say you develop these relationships with people and you don't want anybody upset with you. You don't want the community upset with you, period. But that is going to happen at some point because, as you cannot please all of the people all of the time.
Right.
And so I have to, and I'm sure Mrs. Dr. Williams, lead her staff the same way, but you have to do it what's best for the community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of the decisions that you make as a leader is not necessarily those that you would prefer. Um, but that's part of being a leader. You have to step out there and do those things that others are not able to do, others choose not to do. Otherwise, anybody could lead, and we all know that that's not the case. So
Right.
you have to be able to stand firm on those decisions. You try to do as much background checking as you can before you make those decisions. I never like to make a decision hastily,
Mm.
um, and that's at any time. Sometimes somebody want me to speed up and make decisions, um, and sometimes she is able. She's a smart girl. She is able to see things that I'm not able to see at the time, and it all circles back around. But initially, I have to wait. Let me think about this. But what if this? I have to play those type scenarios in your mind, and sometimes I'm still playing scenarios, and somebody, not gonna call a name, have already kind of made a move or whatever. But it ends up working for the good.
Right.
Like I said, I'm sure she leads that same way too because she's an awesome leader as well. But I think I started off that answer, so you can take it.
Well, going back to a couple of years ago to a podcast that I did with my good friend Rory Edge, I do it scared. And when I tell you I am the epitome of doing it scared, I do. And so I would actually say, don't try to remove fear whenever you step into a leadership role. Once people see how real, raw, and uncut you are with them, then they will open up and do the same with you. But if you go in with this power-stricken attitude, with this I'm not afraid of anything attitude, even though you may feel that way, sometimes it closes that door with people, or it puts up a wall or a gate with people. And so I think that if you go in being real, raw, and uncut with people, letting them know you're fearful as well, and it's going to take us working together to accomplish whatever task you have in front of you, then I think that people will understand better when you have to make tough decisions that are not always a decision that they like. As long as they know you have their best interest at heart. And I think that I've been able to do that with my staff as a principal and with people in the community. They trust me. They trust and know that I'm going to make the decision that's best for us all as a whole. And I have their best interest at heart, and not necessarily that I'm making the decision what's best for me. Because I'm not a selfish person at all. And so I actually think it's okay to do it scared. I think it's okay to still have a little fear in you because it shows that you're human. And when you make a mistake, it shows people that, okay, you have enough humility to say, okay, maybe that was not the right thing to do, but let's try the next one. Let's come together and try it again together. Let's come up with a solution together. So I would say do it with the fear. Just be strong in that and walk in it and own it, whether it goes your way or not, own it.
And that kind of also leads into my next question with creating a community of district wide culture for continuous improvement, and that aligns with operating plans to achieve strategic outcomes. How how has it been with getting out into the community and getting and gaining that trust from not only the teachers and your staff, but also the parents as well? How has that been for you in your field?
So for me, I guess I would say it came quite easily because of the mainly because of the supervisors and leaders that I've had. My past supervisor, whether that was principal or superintendent, including my current superintendent, um, Cindy and Kay and David and Overstreet and all of them. I mean, I think they have just, kind of paved the way for that to happen. They've all been instructional leaders and innovative and forward thinkers and people with so much wisdom. My current superintendent, Cindy Hughes, has guided me in the direction of with her wisdom in the direction of progress, I would say. But of course, like I say, it's been all of my past supervisors, whether that was superintendent, assistant superintendent, principals, assistant principals, all of them have helped to shape that part. And the community buy-in is important when you talk about leading a school district or a school building. You need those parents as well as the staff, on your team. Because it takes all of us to do it. Not saying that everybody have to be, on the same page every day, all day, because sometimes, people, kind of fall off. Sometimes even as a leader, you kind of, get a little bit, cloudy in there where you have to take a step back and think, reassess and go back to the board. So it's a continuation strategy there. So that's what I would say to
I I've not had it as easy as Mr. Williams, and I still don't. And I think that differs because of I'm a female, and he's a male, and that matters in our line of work. It used to matter way more than it matters now, but women are definitely leading the way, more so now than it has been in the past. And I think that I was a part of that era of shifting that, specifically in our area. And, me being one of the youngest administrators in our area, it shifted some things. And so because of that, because it wasn't the norm of what everybody was used to seeing, of course, people will attribute that to other things. And so I have to work 10 times as harder to prove myself and to prove that I earned this spot. I deserve to be here. And so instead of me speaking that and trying to get people to see that and trust me, I've allowed my work to speak for itself. So over the years, my work is speaking for me. I don't have to go out with a microphone and yell to the people. I earned my spot. I know what I'm doing. No, I allow my work to speak for me. And then my people begin to speak for me. My employees, I have one of the best staffs ever, not just in Doherty County, but ever. They speak for me. They advocate for me. I do. We are the best. Baby, don't do that. So they speak for me. They advocate for me. And I just think because I know how to treat people. I was raised to treat people the way I wanted to be treated, regardless of how many snakes y'all at me a day or bite at me. I still treat people the way I want to be treated, and I treat their children like my own. I don't just talk about it. My actions match my words with that. And I think, the more time goes by, time heals all, time heals everything. I think the more people will talk about the positive things that go on in our community. And, since I've been at Live Oak, we have grown tremendously. We went from when I got there, it was about right at 500 kids, and now we're at 720 students at Live Oak, and the staff is huge. And I think that right there speaks for me. It speaks volumes for me.
Right.
And the more positive people you have on your team, the more positivity is going to get out there in the community, and then it starts to overcrowd the other stuff. It doesn't go away, but it starts to overpower that other stuff. So I've not had it easy like him, even though I have had people to help pave the way for me. I just find myself fighting 10 times harder to maintain that. I can't get comfortable in knowing I've made it, I've arrived. No, I'm still working 10 times hard each and every day to maintain that.
And that kind of leads me again. Y'all leading into all my little questions. But for the next question, how have you been able to expand your mind in developing that culture in the schools and also being the assistant superintendent. So I'll start, in continuation to where you were, that'll continue for you, Shanekia. How have you been able to expand in that culture?
Ooh, it's been tough. I'm not going to sit here and say it's been easy. It's been tough because I am constantly self-reflecting. I am constantly reevaluating if I handled things correctly. I don't have a content mindset. Just because things are going well for me. Actually, when things are going extremely well for me, it's scary for me because I'm thinking something is going to happen. All good things come to an end. And so I'm constantly evaluating myself on how I can become a better person, a better leader, a better mother, because in my mind, a great leader builds other leaders. And so if I don't see evidence of that around me, then that means that I have some more work to do. So I think I expand myself on a daily by trying to help build other leaders that are around me. And then, of course, they will help to build other leaders. And it just becomes a domino effect.
And so for me, I see how y'all got this worked out. um, for me, I still like to read, and I like to follow people that I think are the experts. Um, we like to surround ourselves with positive people, even when it's not dealing with work. And so I think that has a lot to do with expanding us as individuals, as a couple, as a family, as well as educational leaders. And that's just the short of it. I could expand more if we need to, but
yeah, and we're both of us. We go to conferences every year. We do podcasts like these, of course. And like he said, we surround ourselves with people that we can learn from. You know, if you're the smartest person in the room, then that's a problem. So surround yourself with somebody that you can learn and grow from. And I think we do that on a continuous basis.
Exactly. And so how hard was that? Because sometimes when we disassociate or remove ourselves from, different circles, some of those circles are blood related circles. So how hard was that, saying, with making that decision to say, I know my goals, I know what I have in alignment for my family, and I have to do what's best for that. And not to say that I don't like you or I don't love you, but I have to do what's best for me and where I want to go. So how hard was that for you all as a couple and also individually?
so I can start that one off. But it's very easy for me. I don't have a problem letting anything or anyone go.
Come
I
on,
can continue to love you from a
from
distance.
afar.
I can continue to pray for you while I'm here, and you can be, wherever you are. So that's not a problem. I don't dwell on that. I don't spin in that mud. Um, but everybody, everybody, is not the same way. There are some of us that have to help others, come out of
Right.
other stuff, and leave
What kind of
leave people, and like just
Dr.
like
Williams, we ain't gonna do that. We're not
let
going to
them
act
know.
like that
Yeah, it's
on the show.
like we're done with that. It's time to move on. God has got he has somebody else down the road, to help us grow, and that's where we are headed. That's where we're going. If we're not growing right here, we're stagnant. Too much negativity. It's time to pack up and move on.
I need a button, a red button, to let him know it's time for him to hush and it's time for me to talk. Can I jump in, please?
You sure can.
So I love hard, Jazz. I mean, I'm a true Virgo. I love extremely hard. And so even when it comes to a point of where I know that someone is not necessarily a good fit for me right now, I can't just cut them off and move on like I know some people can. And so I have to work my way around to that with people, because if you're a part of my life, if you're a part of that so-called circle that we call it for me, it's hard for me to let go of that, because I know that it took a lot for me to let you into that. And so oftentimes we don't realize that someone is not a good fit for us until we're too far gone, until they've done something to us to let us know it's not a good fit right now. And for me, it's almost a little too late because I've already let you into my circle of trust. I've let you into my heart. And I love extremely hard. And so
Right.
I do have a difficult time cutting ties with people that I have let into that space of mine. I do. I got a point. I have a difficult time letting go or cutting ties with people that are not necessarily good for me at that time, because it takes a lot for me to understand. I have to understand the why. You can't just
Mm,
tell me she's no
mm,
good or he's no good. Tell me the why. Let me understand the why. I'm one of those people you have to really show and tell. You can't just tell me anything. And so it has been difficult for me, but I have also been able to maintain some sort of relationship with those people, whether it be here every day, talk every day or not. Some of my closest friends, we go 2 and 3 months without talking sometimes. But when we pick up the phone, we jump right on back into where we were a couple of months ago, because they understand where we are and where they are in life. And then I
right.
have some friends really close to me that I talk to every single day. So it just depends on the dynamic of what you built with the person. But in terms of cutting ties, I think we've both gotten to a point in life and in our relationship to where we don't even surround ourselves with people who don't add to what it is that we're trying to do in
Mm,
life, who
mm-hmm.
has nothing to add to that, who's not trying to grow in life. We don't even associate ourselves with anybody like that.
If y'all ain't picked up now nugget for the night, write that down. Okay. And for me, I can honestly say that was something that was hard for me at one point, because I'm like females, most of us anyway, are emotional
Yes.
beings.
Mm-hmm.
So we think sometimes on a different scale
Mm-hmm.
versus males. And sometimes we like to see the potential and the love in everybody
Yes.
versus like, oh, okay, well, he broke my heart, or she stole my food or my money, or she using me. But okay, well, let me see why. Well, she don't have no friends and she don't have no family, or she was adopted. I got to be there for her. So we see the benefit of my existence in other people's lives,
Right.
not understanding that my existence is really killing me. And I'm the ultimate, I have to make the ultimate decision to say, is this beneficial for me with where I'm going and the projection that I have my life, that I'm seeing myself? Or do I need to make an executive decision to say, I'll sit you over here temporarily and I'll check in with you to see how you're doing, in
Right.
order for me to focus on where I'm going, because I can't do that with me still holding on to you.
Right.
And for you, what has that, because those are life lessons. those are
Right.
those are some situations where you may consider it, okay, well, I failed in this friendship, or I failed in this position, or I failed at that task. What has been the lessons that you've gained from those moments of failure, or the moments that you thought was failures? I'll start with Brandon.
You can't steal my answer this time.
Um, that's like,
What have you learned from your failures, Mr.
She's so
I,
pretty.
yeah, um, it's the pinches underneath here where
Will? I am not pinching
it,
them. No.
I see you leaning in.
you see what I'm
Doing
going
I
well.
through
am
here.
not pinching them. Answer the question.
No, you have to learn from those failures, but I think the biggest thing um, from those failures is not to take them so much as failures, um, but more so as a better way to understand how to handle it in the future. And I don't know if that quite makes sense to the audience, but when I look at myself, like Shanekia said earlier, self reflection is real big here. Um, when I do that, if I see a task or whatever as a failure, it's that is time consuming for me, and I do not like the idea of wasting time. So I try not to see those things as failures per se, but as a way, a learning opportunity, or in the educational world, see it as a teachable moment, whether that's for myself or for my beautiful wife here or for a colleague or a parent or whatever the case is. Um, this business that we're in, I find myself doing more, and I don't have a counseling degree background, none of that, but I find myself doing more counseling um, type stuff, and I do that to myself more now than I used to. I don't know if that's just because um, she's getting older or what, but
Let me fix my phone. Okay, I'm gonna pinch him this time for real, Jay.
but you can't. I don't look at it as failure simply because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on something that did not work as well as I wanted it to work or expected it to work. I'm ready to move on to getting it to the point where it needs to be. Um, so I think that's you hit the button.
Button.
Okay, she hit the button.
So I'm the opposite. I believe in bringing closure to situations. And if it's something that I feel I have failed at or not quite accomplished, I want to go back and weed myself through to see where I went wrong so that I can capitalize on the things I did right, even within that failure or within whatever I didn't accomplish. I can weed through the parts that I did right and then work to change the parts that I did not do right. Moving forward to make sure I don't make the same mistakes again. Brennan and I are complete opposites when it comes down to that. He doesn't even want to talk about it. He doesn't want to discuss it. It happened. Move on. Tomorrow is here. No, let's get some closure to this today. I want to talk about everything from A to Z. Don't leave my mind to wonder anything. Okay, now let's go back to 2019. Now okay, that's me. Because if I don't get closure to it or figure out exactly where I went wrong to cause this mission not to be accomplished, it's going to eat at me. It's going to bother me. And I don't want the work that I did put forth to go just to waste. And so whereas he doesn't like wasting time, neither do I, but I look at it differently. I don't want to waste what I already put in it, and you don't want to waste time going back trying to figure out where you went wrong. And so we're opposites when it comes down to the answer to that question.
How is that being opposite? And so, I mean, from just listening to y'all in a couple situations, you both have different perspectives. How is that for you all together, to be on different sides of the scale? How has that been for you all to even get to where you are in not just your career and marriage in your career? How has that been?
Opposites attract. Like, I totally agree with opposites attract. If he was the same as me, we wouldn't be sitting here on the screen right now. And if I was the same as him, we wouldn't be sitting here on the screen right now. And I'm just being completely honest and transparent with you. I think the fact that we are not the same is what works for us because we balance each other out. Does he get on my nerves sometimes with the way he thinks? Absolutely. And I don't get on his nerve because I just don't. But we work it out. We balance each other out. I'm an extrovert. I'm a true extrovert. And he is a true introvert. And that works for us because when I'm on 10, he's on 1. And sometimes when I get on 1, sometimes he can meet me there and I can bring him to 10. And so oftentimes we meet each other in the middle. We do really good at compromising when it comes down to certain things, even though he can be very stubborn about that. We do really great at compromising. And I think that has helped us in our careers as well because we're dealing with the same things on a daily basis. It helps us when we come home to be able to relieve some of that. And sometimes okay, we don't even need to talk about work today because it was a bit overwhelming for me. So take my mind somewhere else. Let's focus on something else. And I think we understand each other in that aspect. So I think being opposites has worked in our favor. In my opinion, it has.
Yes, would you agree?
Okay,
you agree with that?
I do agree with that. Yeah, she did a great job answering that one. She
Okay.
did say that she say she could be stubborn? Is that what she said?
No, you.
No, I think she said you
Yeah.
can be stubborn.
Mhm.
You
So I
you
agree
you.
with most. I agree with most of that.
It's always that one little part they just want to take out, huh?
One little
Just
part,
one.
yes.
Just
Just
one.
for just for clarity's sake. That's it.
Yes.
Just for clarity's sake.
So, and who has been your biggest mentor in your journey of education? Outside
I,
of the ones you've named already, if you can pick one person that has been your biggest mentor.
okay, so I'll go first on this one. Even though I've had many to help to pave that way, there is one person sticking out in my mind who even pushed me to step outside of the classroom. First of all, who gave me an opportunity to have my own classroom, who wouldn't let me give up when I couldn't pass the gates, who still advocates for me now, and that would be Dr. Valerie Roberts. I would say that she is that person for me. Always have been that person for me, and I think she always will be that person in my corner encouraging me. So I would say Dr. Valerie Roberts for my person.
I honestly cannot just name one.
You have to. That's cheating. That's
I
cheating.
can't. I can't.
Like, you gonna get me in trouble for naming.
Well, I mean, you answer that. I cannot. There has been so many, and even if I try to narrow down to the top whatever, it's still going to be more than one because
Right.
many of those people she has already named, those that I've already named, and then there's some that we may not have even named, but
Mhm.
all of those people have been great mentors to me along the way. I cannot take anything from any of my leaders. I'm saying leaders in terms of supervisors, and I cannot take it away from my family. Um, we're both very, very big on family. We are both from very loving and supportive families,
Mentor.
and but they've helped mentor me too. I mean,
That counts.
I
That
mean,
counts.
it is. So
You know,
I just
we got some good grounds in DeSoto, Georgia.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know,
That's that red dirt. They don't know nothing
that's
about
it. They don't know about
that. Jazz.
Sumter and
So
Lee counties, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
all my
You
family
named
was
me
from Sumter.
Levi Lee
I'm from
County.
Sumter
Yeah,
County.
thank you. I mean,
Okay.
our last name is Williams. That originated in Lee.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm a millage. I'm from
That
but
Billy's in DeSoto,
yeah.
little Jones and Mutts, and
Just stop.
Shout out to the Hold on. Did Mama catch the show?
My mom,
Did she catch the show?
she's on. Yes, she is on.
Hey, Mama Shirley, how you doing?
Now she about to try to figure out how to type hey in the chat box.
you'll see it tomorrow.
Don't do her. Don't do her. And for my final question for you all, what is a one piece of advice that you would give to the person that is not knowing what direction they want to go, what decision to make on their journey, or just in life, period? What is one piece of advice you would give? And we'll start with you, Shanekia.
Stay grounded. Regardless of what it is, stay grounded. Set a goal that's attainable, first of all. And so that the short-term goal. Set short-term goals that you can reach to let you know that you can do it along the way to whatever that big goal is. If you stay with 2 feet down in the mud and make sure you stick with it, whether it's good, bad, and ugly in the moment, you'll get to where you're trying to go. And I use myself as an example all the time. I had to take the GACE exam 8 times. And I'm able to minister to a lot of my students at Albany State University who are trying to be teachers now that are wanting to give up, because they've taken it twice and didn't pass. No, baby, 8 times I took that test. And you, like I said, you just couldn't tell me, you couldn't pay me $1 million to tell me that I would be where I am now. So stay grounded, stay humble, even in that process to where you feel like you have made it, stay humble. Because as quick as it is given, it can be taken away.
Yes,
And then
ma'am.
in the event that things do not go as planned, I'm going to go back to what I've said for years. Heal from it and then shift. Heal and shift.
Oh, I remember that. Heal and
Absolutely.
shift.
So
Heal
that
and
would be the
shift.
advice that I would give someone trying to make it.
And the
Dr.
church said,
Brandon.
"Amen." Right?
Hey, look, amen right there.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Um, Mine, you probably read mine when you looked at the bio, and she kind of hit on it there again. I guess that's part of what makes us the couple that we are. But mine is, set goals, and once you reach that goal, you set another goal,
Mhm.
and that's just a continuous cycle. You continue to do that. At one point, my goal was to be a bus driver. Um, I did that. My goal was to be a teacher. I did that. My goal was to be, an assistant principal, then a principal. You keep going as assistant superintendent. To where I am now. Um, my goal was to teach, K-12 as well as, I set another goal after I did that. I want to teach, at the collegiate level. Set that goal, reach that goal. Now I got to figure out what else I want to do. But that's the thing. You set goals, and it doesn't matter where you are, at what point you are in your life. It's always the right time to set a goal.
Absolutely.
So you set a goal, reach that goal, set another goal, and before you know it, you are where you want to be.
And also, don't let society make you feel like you should be in a certain place. Don't let these Facebook popular folks, these social media folks who set up what life should look like, make you feel like that's where you should be. You won't get anywhere in life basing your moves off of the moves of someone else.
That's right.
Come on now.
That's right.
We
And
talking
and and
church.
keep that's right. And keep your faith. Keep God. In your goal setting.
Hmm.
Because if you do that, then he is going to be there with you, so that you will have the necessities. Um, and I think she said earlier, stay humble. That's one of the things that we try to do. We are very thankful. God has provided for us. God has given us, um, in a lot of cases, more than we have asked for. Um, Even from down to great parents. I didn't ask for great parents, but I have great parents.
Right.
I didn't ask for a great wife. I just asked for a wife, but I have a great wife.
Awesome.
Let him do his speech.
Okay, just took the whole.
I'm just helping them out.
Let, come on, help me.
I'm trying to talk Jesus. She gonna make me say something else. Awesome.
She
She
been
wants me
doing
to say awesome. It's awesome.
She wasn't gonna stop. You gonna get
Not gonna stop. But we did talk about stubbornness earlier, like, so I think the point proven. She is awesome though. I think y'all can kind of figure it out too. We like to have fun, and that's you have to do that, in marriages. We didn't have a book to read on that when we first started, so we've learned a lot together.
Yes.
And Jesus being in the middle of that wheel,
Amen.
That's a big one. So,
You felt that?
Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
You done interrupting his Easter speech.
I'm done.
I'm
done.
I'm through now. I know, right?
She threw shade.
Listen, y'all been working together against me all night anyway. So, yeah.
So I want to thank you all again for just being on the show and agreeing to just spend some time and just providing, insight on what you all go through, what it takes to be in your field, what it takes to just, go through the journey of life as a whole, not even in just in education, but in any direction that you want to go in, and just being living, walking examples that if we can do it, anybody can do it. If we come from a city with a population of 200 people, if you think I'm lying, look it up. If
Right.
we can get it to where we are right now, achieving and accomplishing goals that we set, anybody can do anything that they set their minds to. And don't allow the naysayers and the negative conversations and the downing conversations to make you feel like you don't deserve what you set your heart for. And I thank you all so much for being on here. Thank you to everyone that tuned in, that joined the Fly Show. Thank you all so much for your comments and sticking around here with us. You have been tuned in to another episode right here on the Fly Show with your host, Jasmine D. Millhouse. And next week, catch me back here. We're going to be continuing on the journey of education, where we're going to be sitting down with 3 amazing teachers and getting into the minds inside of the classrooms. I thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. And don't forget to first love you, because you absolutely deserve it. You all enjoy the rest of your evening, and good night.
You
Good
too.
night. Thank you, Jasmine.